I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing him as well. That's Donald MacLaren of MacLaren, Chief of the MacLarens and Convenor of the Standing Council of Scottish Chiefs. Let me tell you a little bit about him before I introduce him. Let me introduce him first before we hear from him. Good morning, Chief. As I've mentioned.
Good morning, John. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
And you can see me?
We can see you and hear you just fine.
Well, seeing is an even greater benefit to all the wonderful audience. So I'm very glad it both works.
We, as I mentioned earlier, we're running about 10 to 15 minutes late in the program this morning, but that's something we can adjust. So I just want to let you know that even though we're starting a little late, we expect to hear from you for the length of time that we previously agreed on. So
thank you.
No worries there. Donald MacLaren is the 25th chief of Clan Lauren, named forefather of the MacLarens 800 years ago. The clan is one of the most ancient of the Gaelic kindreds, and its line of chiefs descends from King Lorne More of the 6th century. Donald MacLaren succeeded his father as chief in 1966. He became convener of the Standing Council of Scottish Chiefs in 2018. Donald was educated at the Dragon School in Oxford, Trinity College, Glenalmond in Perthshire, where he learned to play the bagpipes, and Edinburgh University, where he graduated in classics and English and played rugby for the combined Scottish universities team. He joined the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, that's the Foreign Service in Britain, in 1978. After postings in Berlin, Moscow, Havana, Caracas, and Kiev, he served in Belize, Georgia, as Her Majesty's ambassador. He left the FCO in 2008 and is now a political advisor to UK businesses operating in Eastern Europe. And he is a partner in Perfect Pitch, which trains people to speak persuasively. Donald MacLaren married Maida Jane Atchison in 1978. Of their 5 children, 2 have chosen the Army for a career. Young Donald serving as a commando with 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Lewis, formerly with the Scots Guards, now in the Parachute Regiment. Florian runs his own company as a tree surgeon, and Iona and Marina have recently graduated from respectively Stirling and Glasgow universities. Just on a personal note, I had the honor and pleasure of meeting Donald MacLaren at the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games a few years back when he was a guest at our Casca AGM. And he was with us again in 2018 for Target Day in Washington, D.C. It's good to see you, sir.
Thank you, John.
Please share your thoughts with us today.
Thank you very much. Well, my thanks certainly to you, to Camilla Hellman, Jamie McGeechan, and all others in the organization of this 3-day gathering. It's a real community that you have formed. SNALC has become SNAP, as Camilla pointed out earlier, but the L word in SNALC, leadership, it's still present. Everyone who has spoken, I think, has led in their own way with information, ideas, and thought. I've certainly found it very educational, and I think the quality of your contributors has been incredibly high. I'd like to bring greetings from the organization that I represent, the Standing Council of Scottish Chiefs. Let me explain briefly who or what is the Standing Council, the SCSC. We set about this question recently in internal discussion, and to summarize, it's this. The Standing Council represents and acts on the shared interests of Scottish chiefs. It serves as forum, vehicle, and voice. As forum, it's where the members can meet in person or remotely to exchange information, share experience, obtain advice, and discuss ideas for new initiatives. As a vehicle, it can harness the group weight and presence of the chiefs at major events and in pursuing specific activities that are relevant to the membership. And its voice expresses the collective authority of Scotland's chiefs. We value our relationships with COSCA, with CASOC, and also the South Australian Heritage Society Council, and at home with the Lord Lion, with the Scottish Government, and other non-governmental organizations, including, for example, the Association of Highland Clans and Societies. Let me offer some brief thoughts on the subject of value and devaluation, and the salient question, which has come up at several points over the last 3 days: what is a clan? The Standing Council is of Scottish chiefs, not clan chiefs. Of equal standing in our number are the chiefs or heads of Scottish families. But today it seems more and more people of Scottish descent feel the need to describe themselves as clans, too often ignoring both historical and cultural evidence. The starting point of that road may be inaccuracy. The end point is devaluation. Let us take another road, the road to the Isles. I heard a while ago that at one point so many people wanted to be part of the Skye experience that the road itself had to be closed, and the island, until the next car left. In the end, what started as something of value, the experience of Scotland's beauty and specialness, became the experience of a car park, whether off the island or indeed on it. I still find it hard to believe. I thought it must be a wry joke of the islanders themselves. To me, it is a vision of hell. But I'll let John Thurso, chairman of Visit Scotland, who will be speaking later, I believe, to put all that in context and to set out how he sees the difference between sustainable and unsustainable, between what is valuable and what is spoiled. Back to kinship. There were two brothers, Scottish folk singers in the 1950s and 1960s. The elder, Rory McEwen, had this to say about his art. As with anything that is human and natural, if you neglect it, it dies. If you popularize it, commercialize it, you kill it. Celebrate our culture, but don't smother it. In the discussion on genealogy, Dr. Robin Spencer tentatively identified what might be the elements of clanship. The ability to fight, or having a coherent piece of ground, piece of territory, ancestral territory, which you wanted to defend and had to. Having a coherent social community, a socio-economic community, including it being a farming community, and ties of clear kinship within that community. I think all of that is true. I think those are key elements, certainly to kinship and to a large extent clanship. And Robin was certainly not trying to be prescriptive. But those elements that he identified, I think, leave out the crucial components of geography and culture. The Gaelic culture of the Highlands and the Islands and of the clans that sprang up there is something wholly different from the other parts and kindreds of Scotland. We may not ignore that. There is a difference between clans and families. We should not smother everything by making it one convenient, popular whole. In addressing the question of identity on Friday afternoon, Andrew Dunn Russell asked, "Ko leishu," who are you? What are you? Wrapped up in, where are you from? We should ask ourselves the same question, Ko leishin, who are we? For Scots and those of Scots descent, the answer is simple, Scottish. We do not need to create something that we are not. I have to have a clan, or else somehow it's not the real thing. Quite the opposite. Put it this way, I am proud to be a member of the clan MacLaren, or I am proud to be a member of the Bruce family. Now tell me, which is the more resonant name in Scottish history? Clan creation today is Scottish devaluation. Let us stick to who we are, discard false history and phoniness, or else every single Scottish name becomes a clan name, and we end up in one gigantic parking lot. We owe more to our identity than that. We owe more to a valued, not devalued Scotland than that. Then, genuinely, we can celebrate what defines us and distinguishes us, our individual, distinct kindreds, whether clan or family. As Lyon said earlier this morning, put your ladder on the right wall. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your thoughts, Chief. It's always good to see you. We have time for maybe a question or two for Donald MacLaren. I don't see any in the Q&A box at the moment. I'll ask you one, sir, while we're waiting to see if another pops up.
Yes.
What plans, if any, do the Standing Council have for resuming the really valuable practice of having your members come physically to the States and Canada and elsewhere to attend Highland Games? Of course, we have a public health emergency, but that's going to pass. What about
Sorry, John, the line has become a little bit scrambled. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. If I heard the question, it was what plans do we have for a resumption of physical clan gatherings in North America? Is that right?
The attendance of your members as guests at those events.
Yes. Well, certainly the desire is as strong as ever. I think that it's just a question of the button being pressed and people being able to start to travel again. I've heard one or two voices saying rather gloomily, oh gosh, this virus has really put the kibosh on future gatherings and so on. No, I'm sure we'll all pick ourselves up again. The games organizers in North America are so enthusiastic and hospitable, and almost all of them incredibly well organized. So I don't see that enthusiasm and that infrastructure just disappearing. The will is there, and I'm sure that members of the clans and families in Scotland will be delighted to start traveling again as soon as possible.
Very good. I want to thank you again, Chief, for joining us this morning, and we're pleased to see that you've been able to be with us for some of the other sessions in this conference, and we hope you'll stay with us through the end of it here in a couple of hours this afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. I enjoyed it very much. A great educational experience.